Hey, Tom.
Hey, Firefighter Doug.
So, welcome to episode 2 of Those Fire Guys.
We are going to do a whole bunch of exciting things today. We're going to look at having a fire drill. We're going to go through and inspect a lot of serious components that are involved in a building, especially a public school. And we might have a little bit of a chat on how things go.
It looks like we got a full day. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Make sure that all of our exit doors not only work, but there's nothing in the way for us to use our exit doors. And we certainly want to make sure that any of our exit doors are not held open against their closers by a wedge, unless they're designed to be held open for that.
Okay, so one of the features of these buildings is the fire alarm system, right? So we're going to be looking at that today.
We're going to take an absolute good look at the fire alarm today, and not only the fire alarm, but this building is also equipped with a sprinkler system. So the sprinkler system provides fire suppression should a fire occur, but the fire alarm system actually listens to the sprinkler system if a fire were to occur and call for help. We're part of the community. The school is definitely part of the community, and the kids and the teachers, they live in our community. So it is completely a joint effort. We're absolutely welcome not only to participate in fire drills, which we just might have today, or participate in any kind of building inspection.
So what do the schools do to make sure that the kids are safe?
Well, the first thing the school does, and this is through the administration at the school board, is they have to have a fire safety plan. And that's regulated by the provincial government because this is one of the buildings that require a fire safety plan. So they create a fire safety plan which lists all of the issues that could possibly occur. It talks about maintenance of fire safety material, fire safety equipment, and by material, it would be a fire extinguisher. It could be a pole station. It could be a cover for a fire alarm pole station. And it also lays out when they have fire drills. And that's also regulated by the province. And they're mandated to have 3 fire drills in the fall and 3 fire drills in the spring. And fire drills are complete evacuation fire drills. Now, coming out of COVID, that exercise was modified a little bit, but we still did have 6 modified drills.
What about summer school?
Summer school is something that might think of as a forgotten piece, but it still is school. That's just gone on through the summer, and 3 fire drills have to be conducted over the course of the summer, or however long the course would take during the summer break.
So staff are responsible for the kids' safety while they're here. What sort of questions do we get from staff when they're here?
We get all kinds of questions about, is this in the way? Is the door blocked? How do we do this? Do we meet in a certain place outside? Do I have to keep track of all the students when they're here? These are all certain aspects that are laid out in the fire safety plan and the individual fire safety procedure for either the classroom or a wing of a school, and exits and meeting places are designated by the school's supervisory staff.
I think you mentioned it. One of the great things about being able to come to the school is getting the school community involved and getting their enthusiasm for fire safety. Understand that they do fire drills at school, and that knowledge hopefully you can carry on back home. Right?
We find that when the fire drills start, when our kids are in JK, it is absolute new experience for them. And you know what? It's a really scary experience if you've never done it before. But as the kids progress through the grades, the more and more fire drills the kids participate in, the more and more comfortable they are with dealing with an emergency, should an emergency happen.
So this building is classed as an assembly. It's actually a public school. And what it is, this is in the same classification as a meeting hall. Well, part of the assembly occupancy when we do our inspection is we need to have a look and check their fire alarm system. Now, fire alarms are required in occupancies depending on the use of that occupancy. So if you have a building that holds 300 people and you want to have 301, then that building requires a fire alarm. If you have an occupancy where alcoholic beverages are sold, then as soon as we breach 149 people in that occupancy, say a larger restaurant or a hall, we need to have a fire alarm installed. But when we get into an elementary school or a high school, a school setting, and colleges and universities fall into this as well, as soon as we get over the number of 40 occupants in the building, now 40 occupants, they not only include the students, but they also include the instructors as well, then we need to have a fire alarm installed. Because this is an elementary school with numerous classes, this building requires a fire alarm system. So as part of the inspection of this fire alarm, it has to be inspected annually and every day through the fire safety plan that is written for an assembly occupancy. It needs to show and dictate that some individual in the organization must come and check every day that the green power light's on. What that means is that the power supply to the fire alarm is in place and the fire alarm is serving the building. If there were any kind of issues or faults or anything to whether something's happened or something has broken in the system, each one of these individual markers will light up and dictate if something's wrong with the panel. So as prevention officers, we check to make sure we have power to the fire alarm panel. As we move forward into the school, one thing is we want to make sure is that all of the pull stations, and for those of us that don't know, this is a switch that turns on the fire alarm system. So if we saw a fire or if we believe there was a fire, we physically activate this lever. By using this lever, we turn the fire alarm system on, and the fire alarm panel that we just looked at will set the bells and strobe lights into motion, and it will also call the fire department for assistance to this address. This cover plate has its own alarm, so the teachers in the building, if they hear a supplemental alarm go off, know that somebody's lifted up the cover plate, and with this, know that they need to come and make sure the students aren't getting us into trouble. Throughout the school, we'll ring to alert everyone that there is a problem and they need to exit, and that's why fire drills are done in the school 3 times in the fall, 3 times in the spring. So in the event the fire alarm does activate, then it will let everyone know and the students will be able to get out safely along with their teachers. In several buildings that are equipped with a sprinkler system, right here, this is what's called the fire department connection. What this does, it allows the fire department to attach to the building and assist the sprinkler system in extinguishing the fire. These are called fire department connections because the caps unscrew and the fire hose attaches straight to this, and the fire truck is allowed to pump water straight into the system. All fire department connections to a building are located within a specified distance away from a fire hydrant. Because this is an elementary school and it is set in off the road, in the construction of this building, they had to provide their own fire hydrant, hook their hoses to the automatic sprinkler system, and push water in to help the sprinkler system put out the fire. But before all of this happens, if a fire was to occur, this little bell up here is called a sprinkler alarm. And when there's any kind of water flow through the fire sprinkler system, this bell sounds. And the reason this bell sounds is for the neighbors in the community around the building. If we ever are out for an evening, whether we're at a restaurant, whether we're taking the dog for a walk, and you walk by a industrial or commercial building, and you hear this bell ringing, and you don't know why, that could be a sprinkler alarm, and it might be a good point if you could call 911. Dull pitched noise, it just alerts you to the fact that this is going off. Now this alarm's controlled by water, so there's more of a whirling noise in there, but it's still an alarm piece. The newer alarms in modern fire alarms that are installed today, they've got more of an electronic pitch. So one of the things that we do when we do an inspection on the schools, we have to make it to the electrical room. Now, in different buildings, the electrical room takes different configurations. This is the main power building in an elementary school, and then with this, it runs the lights, it runs all of the wall plugs within the school, and part of this is there has to be a clear space in front of the panel. We can't have material stored in front. It's not just the fire department coming into your building finding things that we need you to remedy, but it's also a daily, a weekly, a monthly thing that you as the building owner has to be proactive on. Now with this operation here, we are manually turning on the emergency lights. Have to run without power for a minimum of 30 minutes. So as we can see here from the power from inside the electrical room, all of the emergency lights are what we call pilot lights that are fed off this control box in the hallway. We're actually making sure that these lights work as well. So this elementary school is extra special in the sense that not only is there a fire alarm system installed to protect all of the students and the faculty that work here, but also in protecting this building, it is equipped with what's called a sprinkler system. Now, we had a look at the fire department connections, and the fire department connections outside, this part is where the water comes in from the outside. So right here, the water is coming in from the ground, which is called the water main. The fire department connections are right here. They're on the outside of the wall. That's the fire department connection. Their job is to add water to the system and help the water that's coming in from the water main put out the fire. The water comes up from the ground in up to the system, and as soon as we reach this point, this is a valve that is monitored by the fire alarm, and this lets us know when the valve's opened or closed at the fire alarm. All the system knows is we've got water flowing. That means we have a fire. So when the sprinkler system activates, it lets the fire alarm know. The fire alarm goes off, and the fire alarm calls the fire department for help to come here and see if there's a problem. So we make sure that there are a minimum standard of spare sprinkler heads on site. Different versions of this, they come in sizes for 6, sizes for 12, 301 heads in this building. They're only required to have 6 spare sprinkler heads in this, and by the count on this box, we have a couple extra, and there's no problem with that. With this though, you need to maintain an assortment of sprinkler heads for all the different uses of sprinkler heads within your building. So we can have upright, sidewall, pendant. The water comes out the end, comes off the diverter. Some sprinkler heads are like this, and they could be a sidewall or an upright to where the water comes up, fans out. Whatever sprinkler head is in use in the building, you need to have a spare sprinkler head. You also have some that are hid up inside a ceiling tile. That's exactly what this sprinkler head is meant for. This is up inside a ceiling tile, and there is a decorative cap. So when a fire does occur, the first thing that happens, the cap comes off and then the sprinkler head activates. So this here, there is 3 different types of sprinkler heads because there's 3 different types of applications in this building. So here's one application, folks, of what a sprinkler head looks like. If fire were to occur right now underneath that sprinkler head, the heat would rise. As the temperature of the fire would increase, it would get to the sprinkler head, activate the sprinkler head, and then water would come out of that pipe and rain down on the fire below it. So here's another example of a sprinkler head at the elementary school, and this sprinkler head serves the exact same purpose. When a sprinkler head goes off, the entire system does not operate. Just the affected sprinkler head will go off. It's not like we see in a movie where a sprinkler head goes off and then the entire floor space, each one of the heads activate. It only activates for the area where the fire is located. One of the additional safety features that we find in almost every existing building is a portable fire extinguisher. Portable fire extinguishers, as well as sprinkler systems, as well as fire alarm systems, they're all a part in the fire safety chain. Portable fire extinguisher can be used if a small fire is discovered, and as well with the fire alarm and the sprinkler system, that a fire extinguisher has to be maintained annually, has to be inspected monthly, and further to this is all part of the training that is provided to the staff, as everyone in the building should know how to use a fire extinguisher. When we inspect a building, is we absolutely make sure that all of our exit signage is in place, meaning it's there, it's functioning, it's not damaged in any way, and as well, our exit doors. We want to make sure that all of our exit doors not only operate, but they're not blocked, they're not inhibited in any way. And I'm just going to walk through and we're just going to check the two exterior doors, because these doors are equipped with what's called an automatic closer. With this, we're just checking the exterior doors. The difference between this door is this is just a pass-through door, meaning it's not locked, there's no kind of locking device on it. It is just a temperature control door. But the exterior doors are met with, and this Panic hardware is allowing the door to be locked, but when we need to get out, it unlocks the door and it unlocks in the direction of travel. And we open the door, walk through the door, let go of the door, it resets the lock, and then the door closes. We can't use anything to hold the doors open. The only way we can hold the door open against the closer is there's a component that comes with our fire alarm system. It's called a magnetic hold open device. And when that's placed on the door is allowed to be held open, because once the fire alarm is activated, then it will allow the door to close.